My name is Kieran Chase. I'm the Senior Manager of OP Design and Operations. With me is the amazing Helen Bourgeot, Global Director of Organized Play. Today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing with the new path to the Pro Tour. How many people in the room have heard the changes that we've done to the Pro Tour? Great. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail and explain kind of the rationale and some specifics of it, and then obviously have a chance for questions so we can discuss, what we did and why we did it. New path to the Pro Tour. So Magic's been growing. I think we all agree that. We all know that Magic has been doing very well over the last number of years. That's thanks to you guys and the efforts that the hobby retailers have to be able to grow and create all the wonderful experiences that Paul Bazakis just mentioned in the previous presentation. When we moved the pre-releases into the stores, we did a couple of tweaks from where they were 10 years ago to what they look like in your stores. And I think that that was for the best. And it really made those events your own. It certainly took it from a ballroom experience to a retail store experience. But we didn't really change things when we started moving Pro Tour qualifiers from ballrooms into your stores. We kept them the same. And as Magic is growing, we're seeing that system break down a little bit. So it's very important that we necessitate a change. There's some amazing stories out there, such as a PTQ that has 400 people vying for one slot. And that's just not a great experience for players, and it's very difficult for a store to manage that. We did a survey of the room of the number of Advanced Plus stores in here, and unfortunately, once a store was able to become Advanced Plus, then they got put on the waiting list to be able to get a PTQ. And sometimes that was 2 years before they would even get a Pro Tour qualifier. And that's not fair, and that's not an acceptable level of reward for our store that's creating such an amazing experience. So going from 2 to 4 years waiting for a PTQ, and then that PTQ being 400 people, was not really working out for anybody. So we needed to retool that system and give more players opportunities to play and more stores opportunities to run events. So what did we start doing? We're starting with the next season something called the Preliminary Pro Tour Qualifier. And this is the starting point to the Pro Tour in your own store. And what's really cool about these things is the number that could be run by the breadth of hobby retailers. When you look at going from 2 years for a Pro Tour qualifier to being able to run one Pro Tour, preliminary Pro Tour qualifier in your store per season, you see that the number of preliminary Pro Tour qualifiers went up precipitously. So, talking about the preliminary Pro Tour qualifier, every advanced store is able to run one, and you're able to run one per Pro Tour. What that means, 4 times a year, you're able to run a preliminary Pro Tour qualifier. It offers 1 invite to a regional PTQ. Now, let's not talk about regional PTQs just yet. We'll get there in a second. But this means that the number of preliminary Pro Tour qualifiers goes from about 200 Pro Tour qualifiers that we had worldwide to about 3,000 preliminary Pro Tour qualifiers worldwide per release, per Pro Tour. So this gives many more stores the opportunity to run this kind of event, many more stores to be tied in to the preliminary Pro Tour system. It allows stores to get involved and become part of that Pro Tour system. Helen, did you want to jump in and offer?
And it's really something which has been received extremely positively by the players, because players just are also in the situation where they are seeing the difficulty of just like making their way to the Pro Tour when they are playing in the 400-player events. Just like say, well, there's just like your shot is pretty, limited, and then you have to drive, have that many hours for the next Pro Tour qualifier. So it makes it just like very challenging to make it on the Pro Tour. And with the new system, players see really the opportunities for them to just like have smaller preliminary PTQs close to where they live. And then they just like say, well, I see all the stores in my area. So if I don't make it for the very first preliminary PTQ, I can jump on the next one very easily without having to travel too many hours. And then once I make it at that stage, because I think I'm confident in my ability as a player to win a tournament, then I think that the regional PTQ give me a good shot. And this is where Karen is going to give you more details on the regional PTQ.
One amazing thing about the preliminary PTQs is they don't tie into any specific format. It's up to the stores. So if you wanted to run modern, you can run a modern preliminary PTQ. Standard, if you want to do limited, that's fine. And we've already heard from many stores that have been coordinating and are planning to run preliminary PTQs on a weekend together, where Saturday is a modern event and then Sunday is a standard event. And we're really excited about that, to see that players are going to be traveling around to these different stores to get the different experiences that they've been looking for. Jumping on to the regional PTQs, these are much smaller number of events worldwide. You actually notice it's 31 events worldwide per Pro Tour. You can think of these more as a Grand Prix or closer to a Grand Prix than you can think of them as a old world Pro Tour qualifier. They're limited in size to the number of preliminary PTQs that are being run. We expect, on average, the size of one of these events to be around 100, 128 people. Because of that, they are actually weighted in the terms of the number of invites that they give. If it's under 128 people, it offers 4 invites to the Pro Tour. If it's over 128, it offers 8 invites to the Pro Tour. But we're expecting them to be about between 100 and 128. It's an invite-only event, obviously, because you had to qualify by preliminary PTQ, and Advanced Plus stores are the ones that are going to be able to get them. It's important to remember that this is an invite event, so there's no event fee on this. This is not a money-making vehicle. This is a prestige event, and because of that, you need to be able to, you need to sign the agreements to run this a certain way, these events a certain way. When I say 31 worldwide, I want to make sure that you understand that that's 16 in North America. So these are very small number of events. Now, if there are multiple stores that are interested in running one in a geographic region, we'll rotate around. So there will be some time, but I can imagine in each geographic region, if there's 4 stores, they'll rotate around those 4 stores in a year. We are going to put them in the higher player population, because players are going to be expected to travel to these events, and we're going to make sure that they're in the specific hotspots. So my apologies to the stores that are not as easy to travel to. We're probably not going to be able to give you one of these events. These are, as I said, needing to be in the key areas where players can travel to. So your opportunity is with the preliminary PTQs. So when you look at the whole system, you're looking at this great scaling. From here, 3,000 preliminary Pro Tour qualifiers, all the way up to 31 regional Pro Tour qualifiers, up to the 1 Pro Tour. And this happens 4 times a year. It's a high number of PTQ prelims with a small number of preliminary regional PTQs. Motivates players and maximizes the number of stores with the opportunity.
So it's really, looking at the numbers, it's really like something which is important to illustrate how we have built that program. Because the number of preliminary PTQs, of course, it's a potential number of preliminary PTQs, because how many events will actually happen depends on you. Just like, how many of you are going actually to jump on that opportunity. And it's really something that we want to work closely with you, because players are already like asking us, where can I play in a preliminary PTQ? So just like making sure that we are offering these opportunities to players and to you, because that's something that players are already looking forward to, is going to make a difference. And so starting just like from that number, it's a potential number, and this is how we ended up with setting up the number of 31 regional Pro Tour qualifiers to make sure that we would have about 100 players per event. Because if you think about it, just like it's 100 players, it gives you a very short and sweet tournament that you are able to run in a decent amount of time, especially because since we are giving invitations to top 4 and top 8 if over 128 people, you don't even need to run a top 8. So this is like a drastic improvement in terms of experience, both from the organizer standpoint and the players. Coming from in a tournament that is maybe like, going to finish at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, Nick is laughing, but I'm sure that a number of you have been experiencing that. It's not fun when you finish an event just like that late. Just like to something that you can really manage more easily. So that's why we have designed the regional Pro Tour qualifier this way, so that just like players have a chance to just like try their hand at local level at the preliminary, but once they're at a regional level, it's just like they feel that it's like something that it's achievable. And we really want to make sure that the regional PTQs an excellent opportunity for the players at many different levels. So size of the event, all the price support that of course we are going to provide stores with. We have a very cool promo card that we are going to reveal a little bit later, just like as a way to encourage participation in the first preliminary. So we will have all these things that will make sure that the players will be very engaged. But as Kieran was saying, what is super important for you is to keep in mind that it starts at your store. All the path to that Pro Tour start at your store with way more entries than we ever had. We've had since you can run one preliminary per season. One thing which is very interesting is that Kieran highlighted the fact that you have now the option of between 3 different formats, which is actually some flexibility that we have included in the program based on the feedback that we had received from organizers running Pro Tour qualifiers. Now and then we were saying, oh, I'm glad that I'm having a Pro Tour qualifier that season, but I wish I had that other format. So I say, okay, let's give a try. So I think it's eventually it can be a good thing for the players as well, because maybe I'm more comfortable playing just like standard than just like modern. So I will be targeting this type of preliminary PTQs. So we were thinking that it was good both for the players and for the organizers. With that said, it was really the very first concern that was expressed by players. I don't know how many comments from players, and it's very funny. So part of the players were telling me, oh, it means that limited is dead in my area. Okay, and the other one is like say, oh, all the preliminary will be limited. Oh, just like tells you not everybody is like in the same obviously region, but there is this concern, and I think it's worth sharing with you about the fact that every single store is going to select the same format. And we see the benefit actually, where the benefit for you when you have 3-4 stores in your area who can also, who are planning to run a preliminary PTQ, to actually have a certain level of coordination. Because this is how all of you can just like make sure that you are just like optimizing and getting the best of that program. So something that just like very just worth starting thinking of, just like teaming up with your the other stores in the area. Also in terms of scheduling, because if you just like schedule everybody schedule at the same time, that's not going to work very well. And we also want to make sure that you manage the expectations of your players. We expect the preliminary PTQs to be like significantly smaller than just like some of the PTQs that were 300, 400 players. So it gives you more flexibility for your venue as well. And players are also looking for smaller events. But with that said, as an example, stating what is your capacity from the beginning would make a ton. Just if you say, hey, that's my primary PTQ. I'm sorry, I feel the mic is like, no, it's okay? Okay. My primary PTQ is this weekend. That's all what what you will get. And my capacity is like 64 seats, and you can just like pre-register here. That will make a ton. Just like just like none of you, I'm sure, want to be in the situation where you have to find out the morning of your event that there are 50 people who are waiting outside and you have no chairs and nothing to accommodate them. I received tons of pictures like that, people standing for hours say, oh yeah, we had to send a judge buying some chairs. It's really something that I'm sure all of you prefer to be in control of. So because of that new system, I think that it gives you way more opportunities actually to be ahead of the game and say, my capacity is blah, and just like, and to make sure that players are fully aware of that. Does it make sense? Any comment at that stage? Any question?
Yeah, so we are allowed to cap the number of players in a preliminary PTQ?
So the question is about whether organizers are allowed to cap or not. So technically, anyway, we have all to keep in mind that every single event is capped. You always have a maximum capacity, which is driven by the fire code of the venue. And it's something that we all need to keep in mind. So absolutely, you should be very straightforward. Well, I have seen some horror stories, so but we shall not speak about here. Absolutely, but this is why we encourage you to look at your venue and check. Back to exactly what Paul was presenting in earlier this morning. What is my real capacity so that it's comfortable, so that I don't have to play like that all day long because that's terrible. So that I have a real chair with a real back on my chair. And once you identify what's your actual capacity, make your players aware. Just like they will just find it's a good service. If you present it this way, it's way better service than trying to accommodate too many players and have to turn away people at the last minute, because that's a terrible experience. Just like say, hey, I'm excited, I think that I can make it, maybe that's my last shot, that's my last possible weekend to try to make it, and I find out the morning I'm showing up that it's not there, I have to stand for 20 minutes because there is no table for me to play.
And if you have a small store that is only able to accommodate 24 people, do pre-reg, just so people can manage their expectations and understand. But since every advanced store is able to get this, we're rapidly expanding the number of opportunities to play. It's okay if you turn some people away because your store can't accommodate. It's about the experience. Concentrate on making a great experience, and don't worry about jamming the maximum number of people into your store.
Yes?
Is there any kind of guideline on entry fee for the preliminary?
So the question is about guidelines for entry fees for preliminary. And this is a very broad question, because your entry fee is just one part of the event. It all depends on what you're offering to the players. First off, is it limited or constructed? Big difference in what you're offering. And also, it depends also on the price support that you are putting in the in place.
So that's mostly up to the store then?
It's up to your store, and it's up to the store to define what is like the best balance in between entry fee and the price support. There are a number of stores who have been very successful in actually engaging their local players to get their opinion. I know, I'm sure that all of you have some very, very loyal players that you can have a chat saying, hey, just like, and using a sounding board, what do you think if I'm doing that in terms of just like price support and entry fee? And just like, that's the best way, just like that, where you can have a good experience for everybody.
I encourage you to remember that it's not the old PTQ system. It's new. You're going to be running, hopefully, 4 of these a year, and every store that's able to run one of these will be running for a year. So if you've decided that you're going to gouge your players one month, they might not come back. So this is kind of a long-term strategy. But to directly answer the question, it's up to the stores. We're not giving the guidelines. I could see stores doing a broad array of experiences.
Any other question or comment or yes?
What are the regional codes for Qualifier and Pro Tour? What are the format for
You're asking for the format of the regional PTQs. Is this correct? and the Pro Tour. Oh, you missed a big announcement last weekend. Yeah. Okay. I will address the Pro Tour first.
No problem.
Okay, yeah, we announced a lot of things recently, and part of the announcement that we made to our players, to the community, was the outline of our 2015 Grand Prix and Pro Tour schedule. So we revealed where all our Pro Tours and all the GPs will be next year, or for the next season. And part of the announcement was the fact that we were first planning to have all 4 Pro Tours being standard, and which is like our decision was driven actually by willingness to protect the modern format, which is growing a lot. We see a lot of interest, and sometimes showcasing such a format at Pro Tour level competition just like creates some tension at lower level. However, we received very, very significant amount of feedback. That's a nice way to put it. Players didn't like it at all. And we regarded the feedback very differently, because it helped us realize that what was the most important thing for all the players loving the modern format, to see their beloved format on the big stage. That's what mattered to them. So based on that feedback, we announced last weekend that actually we are changing the format of the very first Pro Tour next year, the one being held early February in Washington, D.C., which is going to be modern. So we are changing that. So it means that in total, we'll have 1 modern Pro Tour, and the 3 others will be standard. Because standard is still our most prominent format. It's where we have the most interest from all level of play, so that's where it makes sense. So with that said, that's for the Pro Tour. And for the Pro Tour, the regional Pro Tour qualifier, it's different from the preliminary. Yes, we are going to set up formats so that all 31 events in a given season will be run under the same format, and we are going to rotate. We are not going to have only standard format, which is a way to make sure that we are keeping just like all this interest from all the different players on the format. We are going to give more details about how the rotation will work, when we are going to post all actually detailed information about the regional Pro Tour qualifier by early November at the latest. But what I can already tell you is that it's going to include a rotation between modern and standard. It's not only planned to be standard.
Yep. It's a great question. When we look at the regionals, we want to standardize them as much as possible. The goal is to have them on the same day worldwide. If it's not on the same day, it's going to be within a week of each other. And a player who qualifies for a regional can play in any regional. For example, if they travel to your store from out of state or out of country, and they play and win an invite to a regional, they can then go play in any regional anywhere in the world. That's not tied. You're not playing in a PPTQ that goes to a specific regional. It's any regional.
There was another question here on that.
Right
yes.
There.
Will the format of the regional line up with the format of the Pro Tour?
Well, are they the same?
Well, actually, we are thinking about that as just like not this way because of the way the seasons work, but when we are going to explain how the regional PTQs format have been picked, we are going to try to give some clarification. And again, just like please keep in mind that all these details will be posted early November. I'm sorry because there were some more questions on the right that we just like didn't answer. I don't remember who it was. Sorry. Yes. Okay, so the question relates to a judge requirements for both the preliminary PTQ and the regional PTQ, as well as just like the support from WotC for the regional PTQ. We did set some judge requirements, that's absolutely correct, for both events. So for the preliminary PTQs, the judge requirements is level 2, because just like, it's a 4, the multiplier for this event is time 4, as also, I don't know if we touch on that. And for the regional PTQs, it's going to be L3. because it's like it's a higher level event as well. As far as our contribution for our support for the regional PTQs, it will include all the things that you need to run the event, and it's going to be the responsibility of the store running the event to take care of the staffing, including the judge and the venue. Well, this is also one of the reasons why we are going to give priority to the stores who can run the 100 people event in their store, so that they don't have to rent a venue, because that makes a big difference. We discussed a lot about what it means for the store, because we felt that just like with the opportunity to bring a crowd of 100, about 100 people, will be just consuming other things during that day in your store. That should work for the store running the event. And as well as just like the stores running the regional PTQs, they have the opportunity, and we will encourage them to do so, to run a preliminary PTQ on the same weekend. Because like this, a player who is qualified by himself, he can come over with his friends, because players they say, that's what I miss if I'm qualified. I want to go with my friends. Yeah. So if like this, you have to look at the whole weekend, as opposed to look solely at the regional PTQ. Does it answer the question?
Not entirely, no. Again, many of the judges are now expecting better payment to come to your event, with stars to be running some of the big events, especially level 3s. They're expecting $150, $200 to come to an event. And now it's getting to a point where you can't charge to run an event. We're expected to put out $100 for a level 1, $150, $200 for a level 2, up to $300 for a level 3. That could turn into a couple $1,000 just for judge staff to run a regional PTQ.
Well, I think it's important to also, when you talk about expecting, it's a voluntary event. We're going to invite stores who want to run it to run it. If it's not, the economics of the event doesn't work out for your store, we understand that it's not necessary to run it. Once again, I want to remind that it's 16 events per Pro Tour per year in the North America. So not every store is going to be able to get an opportunity to run one of those events.
And if you're running it, they're going to get priority to places that can run it in the store. So if you run it in your store, you get 120 people in your store, you're going to make money. I mean, whether or not you charge the event, I mean, being able to draw that many players, you're going to make money. That's the bottom line. If I had 128 people at every event, I might afford to pay my judges $400 a piece.
Singles, product.
And that was exactly our line of thought. We want to team up with you. Just like we are here, just like, it's a business. So, and we were really looking at all the opportunities that a store can get from hosting such an event. And this is exactly what you were saying about just like say getting revenue from other sources, but from the entry fee themselves. It's what we were identifying being like the option for the store, the opportunities. So I'm happy. Where are you located?
We have
Sorry,
one more
yes,
question
we have
here,
more questions.
and then I want to continue on in the presentation, and then we'll start answering some questions at the end.
Internationally speaking, I'm from Brazil. I was wondering, probably going to have one regional here only, but we have like 12, 13 big stores. How this rotation is going to work, how these people will get invited?
So from question is an international question from Brazil. I guess that is about the regional PTQ still. So okay. It's actually fairly straightforward. We go where the players are. That's exactly what Karen was saying. If we take the example of Brazil, there is like the highest percentage of players is concentrated in São Paulo. So we are going to go look at São Paulo. And I know that we have excellent stores in Porto Alegre and over, but we have to go where the players are. It is where it makes sense. And so once we look at the stores in that area, again, we are going to then, the next things we are going to look at which are the stores that are Advanced Plus, which are the stores we can have the maximum seating capacity. And then what are the stores who want to do it? Not every single store may be willing to host such an event. Then when we have that a smaller number of candidates, we are going to see a rotation, just like saying, season 1 is going to be store number 1, and then, go from one store to another. That's the way we are going to proceed.
Using your example, there might be 12 stores in that city, And then the number of stores who are able to run it cuts it down to 8 stores. And then the number of stores who are interested in running it cuts it down to maybe 4 or 2. And then we start rotating. So I'm going to continue on just a couple of more slides, and then we can get back to questions. Grand Prix. What's going on with Grand Prix? Well, most importantly, we are increasing the number of Grand Prix. Starting the next season, we're going to have 54 Grand Prix worldwide. And that is
That's insane.
15% increase, that 20% increase.
I still remember when we used to run 12 GPs per year, and that was not that long ago, yeah.
And what was happening is we kept increasing the GPs, and we're like, okay, it's great, we're getting 2,000, 3,000, 3,500 GPs, we're going to increase the GPs, and the numbers will be able to go down a little bit, and that did not happen. We just kept getting bigger and bigger GPs. We just had Portland last week, and it was just shy of 2,000, I believe, for a team event.
For a team event, which is just like, team events are not expected to gather as many people because you have the hurdle to have, to find other people to play with you. So it just like it was, yeah, that was a lot of players, but very, very, very great event.
We're increasing the prize payout deeper and broader than we had in the past as we increase the number of Grand Prix. But what's most relevant for you guys is the Grand Prix trials. We got a lot of feedback from you guys, once again, about format. We wanted to make sure that we opened it up and starting the change, just like the PPTQs, the formats are going to be up to you guys. You're going to be able to run whatever format you want, and it does not need to necessarily tie to the Grand Prix trial, Grand Prix, that format that's being run. Additionally, just like the PPTQ, a GP invite for a GP trial can go to any GP. So once again, more freedom, allowing you to do what you need to do to get stores, to get the experience for the players in your store.
So just like to confirm, right now we have regional restrictions for GP trials. So you can run, if you're sitting in North America, you can run GP trials only for the numerous GPs that we have here. And that's the flexibility that we're adding. That regional restriction, we are removing that. And it's also to go in the direction of comments that we received over the years. The best example being last year when we were, no, it was earlier this year, I'm already living in the future, sorry. We have only very few legacy Grand Prix because the legacy community just like, we know that it's very difficult to just like enter legacy format. So whenever we have a legacy Grand Prix, in the whole world, I have stores telling me I would love to be able to run GPT for that Grand Prix, despite the fact it's not my region. And you think about it, a store just like being on East Coast, willing to run a GP trial for legacy GP, which is in Paris, it makes the same type of sense that just like for that same Eastern Coast store running a GPT for a GP on the West Coast. So that's why we decided to remove that regional restriction. Gives you way more flexibility to decide where you want to, for which GP you can run a GP trial. There is one thing though, is that you can run one per month. But since we have released the whole 2015 Grand Prix schedule, it means that you can already do your GPT schedule and turn your GPTs in a way more just like different events, because you can just like spice it up the way you want. The cool thing also about that scheduling change, it means that if the scheduling window happens to be on 2 different months, and that is for a GP which is next to you, you can run 2 GPTs for the same Grand Prix. So which is also pretty cool because we tend to have better attendance for the GPs that are just close to where you are located. So it gives you lots more flexibility. So I would encourage you to start looking at the Grand Prix schedule for next year and just like say now I can have my whole year of GPTs being like in the schedule, which is has been received very, very well by the players as well. Because they say, yeah, I can run all these things. I can just check with my stores. Maybe I will have, better opportunity to get my buys.
So you see, flexibility is kind of the name of the game right now. You guys have been doing such a great job. The community has been expanding. Magic's been doing great, mostly because of the work that you've been doing. And now you have more tools, you know, more opportunities, more freedom, more flexibility to make sure it works in your store. But when you look at the whole system, the new path to the Pro Tour, you start seeing how everything starts in hobby stores. Everything starts from in-store play with Planeswalker points. It starts with the PPTQs. It starts with the GP trials. All of the paths to the Pro Tour start in your store, and they go up through Magic World Cup qualifiers, to Grand Prix buys, to the Greek GPs, to the World Cups, all the way up to the Pro Tour.
Any question?
And with that, we can open up to questions.
When will we have the opportunity to express interest in running a regional PTQ?
So it's a question with regards to telling us that you're interested to run a regional PTQ. So you can always mention it to your the WPN support team right now. We are just like, I want to clarify because it's so a question that I was receiving, say, is there a type of application process? There is not really an application process. It's very similar to when, you know, we are being asked, is there an application process to run a Grand Prix? There is not such a thing because just like, you know, because of the number of events. However, if you are motivated to run this type of events, yes, we are interested to know that. So, and this starts with your WPN rep, and they will tell us because it's Kieran's team who is going to then start selecting the stores.
So once again, if you're interested and you're concerned that we might know about you, make sure you talk to your rep. Make sure you let us know that you're interested. And if you're confident that you're doing a great job, still let us know that you're interested to make sure that we contact you. Any other questions?
There was a promo you had mentioned?
Yes, there is a
Yes.
promo for PPTQs.
It's really good. Can tell you.
No.
It's,
we're going to be announcing it, I believe, at the next Pro Tour. Is it that we're announcing it?
Well, just by early November at the latest.
Yeah,
And
we got to hold that back a little bit for the new
I'm,
Is
I'm-
it
don't
red?
don't,
You're
don't
able to
try
read
to
it.
make us say anything, but it's just like I can tell you it's a cool one because when
yeah.
Forsyth just came in our team meeting, just say, hey, that's the promo, but maybe it's too much. Say, yeah, you give it. So it's really a good one. It's really a good one.
It has a magic back. There's a little
It
word.
was going to be the first season for the PPTQs. Is it going to be some sort of promo for every season, or is it just the first? Is the first one the special one where the promos will be handed out?
So it's the promo card will be for the regional PTQ first off. It's not for the PPTQ, and we are going to have the same promo card being used for a few seasons because we have such a small number of players per regional PTQ. You can see immediately.
Good number.
Because you said, well, for the first season to encourage players.
That's when
to
it
come.
first starts.
Yeah, I was
Yep.
just making sure there would be some sort of, even if it's the same card.
Yes,
Yes.
we are
And
going
then
to
we
have.
refresh.
We are thinking about having the same promo card for the regional PTQs for about 3 seasons and then rotate it just like this way. So like this, we'll have always something fresh.
Exactly.
Yes, that's exactly a very good parallel. It's very similar to the GPs.
So the promo idea will last from year to year to year, even if it's on a
Correct.
3 to 4 season.
And we will make sure that it's very, very clear, just like whenever we are going to have a new promo, that's going to be part, of course, our big marketing push for players to get excited about just the opportunity to play at primary PTQ. And I have some signs in the back, tells me, that
Oh, so just to confirm again, the question is, tell us more about the promo card. We can't tell you specifically about the promo card, except for that it will be at regional PTQs, and they will rotate about once a year.
Yeah, sorry, you may have said this already, but the promo card, is it for everyone that attends, or is it like a top 8 situation? Like the winner?
For everyone that attends, because the regional PTQ is already an invite event. The question is, who gets the promo card at the regional PTQ? Is it top or is it's a participation? Because the people who are attending the regional PTQs, it's an invite event. They've earned the right to be there, so everyone gets it.
it's similar to the World Magic Cup qualifier, where it's also a participation promo card.
And there's some fun other things, details about the regional PTQs. As we mentioned, if it's underneath 128 players, it's 4 invites. If it's 128 players or more, it's 8 invites. But let's say it's 99 players, 4 invites. But the rest of the top 8, the 5 through 8, they will get automatically invited to the next regional PTQ. They don't have to go through the PPTQ system. So that feel-bad moment gets taken away a little bit. See a question right there? So the question is, if an organizer wanted to get a number of stores together and organize their PPTQs in flights, could they do that? And the answer is absolutely yes.
In flights? No.
Oh.
Sorry. No, flights are not an option. It has to be separate events, just like really like their own event.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, just like I missed the flight word. But you can just like say, okay, if you want to team up with another store, you can say, okay, we are taking that weekend. You can even be at the same venue if you want, and one Saturday, one Sunday, but they have to be separate events. And the preliminary PTQs are not designed to be run as flights.
My apologies.
No, so sorry, it's okay.
Yes, you got 2 answers. Take that answer.
Nick was second afterwards. First this gentleman here, and then you afterwards. Yes.
The new Grand Prix trial system, when does that start taking effect?
That's a very good question about when the new GPT system is going to be implemented. We are looking right now at implementing it actually for GP New Jersey, where sanction is going to open very shortly, because there is like such an excitement from everybody. We say, why would we wait to implement? So when we will post the information for sanctioning for that GP, you will have all the details.
Yep. So look for that in the next couple of weeks, actually.
There was a question there. Yes. Sorry. So. Separate events, but on the same day. As example, with a different start time, you see, somebody starting their standard event at 10 and then the next event at 12. This is absolutely possible.
Yep. That's when I heard flights, that's what I was interpreting it as. Great.
Yeah, but flights is something very, very different from what we are describing here. So yep. Thank you very much for clarifying.
But yes, the idea is that a number of stores can come together and create a number of PPTQs, because each store is able to hold one per Pro Tour, and then they can hold a number of them at the same location.
More
Any
questions?
Other questions? One way in the back.
Well, it's about the rotation of regional PTQs. We actually answered that question earlier on. Yeah, I know. I saw you coming in, so that's why I just like. I'm happy to reiterate what Karen was explaining. When we are going to go through the different criteria for selecting the stores, based on geography, based on Advanced Plus, based on capacity to host a 100-person event in the store, based on the willingness, because there will be that contract, that agreement that Karen was describing, then we will end up with a set number of stores in a given area, and we are going to rotate the event between these stores. Yes, that's the goal, to have a rotation.
And make sure, if you're, once again, as I said previously, if you're interested, make sure you let your WotC rep know that you're interested in running a regional PTQ.
All our systems are designed to make sure that we can involve as many stores as possible. So we always have in mind potential rotation and bringing more opportunities for you. That's why we are putting together these changes. The GP trials, that's the same. That's really one of our guiding principles, making sure that we just can get as many as you engaged in these programs.
I have one question right here.
Yes. Basically, I just wanted to ask, I'm a little bit concerned about the new structure regarding small market stores. For example, my store is located in Puerto Rico, meaning that any player that wins a preliminary PTQ needs to travel automatically to the States for the regional PTQ, meaning that that's an extra $300, $400 airplane ticket. So players in my area and a lot of local areas in Latin America are kind of skeptic about the new system. Is there something that can be done about it?
So it's about the accessibility of the program to smaller regions like Puerto Rico or number of markets in Latin America, because since they're just like pretty remote areas, for players winning their tickets just like to their just like invite to the regional PTQ will have to travel. We have to fly somewhere. Of course, it's on our radar. We want to make sure that we keep an eye on the implication of any change that we make for the global player base. With that said, guiding principle, we have to go where the players are. That's what makes sense. When we get more players in an area, we'll just like look at how we can tweak the program. That's what I really like with the, all the collective work that has been put behind the design of the new system. It's the fact that it's scalable. Just like it can be adjusted and tweaked after we learn how it works for the very first seasons, so that it's a starting point, and from there we'll see how we can make it evolve. When it comes just like to the difficulty for the players to come to their regional PTQs, there are already a number of stores that say, I know what I will have to do. I will offer the plane ticket. And I've seen a number of stores already doing that in Latin America for GPTs, and they're extremely successful. Players love that, and it helps them connect better with their players. That's one of the options. Additionally, I would like to also come back to some of the other changes that we made. Some of the other changes that we made are actually more beneficial to smaller markets. Example, for the Grand Prix, we are now offering invite to the top 8 regardless of attendance, because so far it was only starting with 1,200 people that we would get invites and airfare to the top 8. Below that, it would be like top 4. Now it's top 8 for everybody. So in North America, all our events are 1,200 people. So it's not for us. It's not for this part of the world. It's really for smaller markets. So we are distributing the invites differently. That's one example. And so there are many, many tweaks like that are just like being done to make sure that we give still that access to Premier Play. Another change that we did is that we extended the number of invites given by the World Magic Cup. The whole World Magic Cup program, is extremely in favor of just like smaller markets, as you name them, and just like because we want to give that access to a very cool competition from for 72 countries in the world, and the fact that we're offering more invites here will also benefit just like smaller regions, as you were mentioning. So yes, it's one of our priorities. We're looking at the best way to address, and it's also going to be in a collaboration with you guys.
With the ability to run these different events and have all these events that are going to take place, is there going to be looked at product allocation to the distributors that will be able to get the product we need to run these events?
That's a
If we decide to run a limited event, or would like to run a limited event, because that's what our player base would really like.
Absolutely, that's a fantastic question, and we spoke about this actually at our distributor conference. Just, answering the question, which is product allocations if I want to run limited events with all of these. And we just spoke with our distributors a couple of weeks ago talking about this, and we absolutely going to make sure that you guys have appropriate allocations to run these additional events as you see fit. And one last question. If not, we'll move on for a break.
Any comments? I would love to get your perspective, actually, on what you think about the program. Because we heard a lot from the players, we heard from a few stores, but I would love to see, yes, what?
great comment when you talk about trepidation, excited but trepidation about the new system. One thing I want to say, the difference between a PPTQ and a GP trial that you guys should remember is that a regional PTQ is an invite-only event. GP is an open event to anybody who wants to play. So when you look at the two, a PPTQ and a GP trial, one goes to an invite only and the other one goes to an open event. So in terms of if somebody wants to play in that regional PTQ and get invited to the Pro Tour through that system, there's only one way.
Yeah, for us, Brazil, it's great because you can increase the number of tours, which we're like almost no. And it's nice because it has some glamour because you don't have like all those big events there. So a PTQ is like a big event, like being Brazilian champion trial. So yeah, for us, for smaller markets where you have like a lot of players but not a lot of events, it works great for us.
Yep, and as the comment about it's really great for, the comment is it's really great for Brazil because it's a small market and giving a lot more opportunities for play. We also see that even in North America as well. There's a lot of stores, great stores, that just weren't connected to the Pro Tour experience. And this gives the stores, as I said just a minute ago, it's the first step. If you want to play in a regional PTQ, you have to play in one of these PPTQs, and those are in the local stores.
Yes?
I'm from Costa Rica, and one thing that our players are very excited about is that we used to get a PTQ every blue moon, and now we have 3 advanced stores. I'm going to get 3 preliminary PTQs per season. So
Yep.
that's got everybody wrapped up.
Absolutely. Now imagine if each one of those stores is able to give a ticket to the regional PTU as the first place prize, which is certainly not breaking the bank at $300, but what a fantastic prize it is for a player.
Yes, you're raising your hand? No? No longer?
Okay.
We have 5 more minutes, but if you are just like not having any question, we can break it here.
Yep.
And again, we will be available throughout the whole weekend, just like to have gather your thoughts. Your feedback will be always very important, just to make sure that we can keep on refining and see if we need to make some tweaks to the programs, because it's just like not only having the perspective from the players, but also from you, because you are the ones running the event.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.